This is a CitrusTV News special report.
Based on what I hear tonight, the answer is yes, and I'll do the best I can.
Please.
At the Hendricks Chapel Forum tonight. We are now learning that despite his pledge, he has not signed the demands, and the Not Again SU protesters are calling for his resignation. Good evening, I'm Sabrina Maggiore.
And I'm Jack Watson. The group is also calling for Senior VP of Student Experience Dolan Ivanovich and DPS Chief Bobby Maldonado to step down as well. The announcement comes after a whirlwind night which included a University Senate meeting, a forum at Hendricks Chapel, and a walkout by the Not Again SU protesters.
We have team coverage for you tonight, and CitrusTV reporter Conor Wight is at the Chancellor's house where protesters gathered after walking out of the open forum. And our reporter Lilia Wood is outside of Hendricks Chapel. That's where the forum took place earlier this evening.
But first, we're going to bring in our reporter Gabrielle Caracciolo, who joins us live outside the Barn Center where Not Again SU just announced they will be spending the night. Gabrielle, what can you tell us?
The hashtag Not Again SU sit-in at the Barn Center at the Arch right behind me has just entered its 179th hour. Students are planning on sleeping overnight for the 8th night in a row. And since last Wednesday's protest started, they have had people in the Barn Center with the short exception of when a fire alarm went off last night. Earlier, when there was the event at Hendricks Chapel, about 120 people stayed here at the Barn Center to continue occupying the space. Some of those people went to march to the Chancellor's house when that group left Hendricks Chapel and marched to the Chancellor's house. But then around 9 p.m. when the group decided to come back to the Barn Center, that was some of the largest numbers that we have seen at the Barn Center. Yet there was not room to sit, it was standing room only, and people were spilling over into side rooms outside of the lobby that they have been occupying from the beginning. Now, that was at about 9 p.m. Around 9:30, they asked for all media to leave the building. We've been outside since, and what we've seen out here, a lot of people have been leaving. Some have been coming with water, food, pillows, and blankets for that sleep-in that is going to take place tonight. Now, their GoFundMe account is closed. That's why they were asking people to come in person to bring those donations. The Barn Center will close at 1 a.m. So anyone planning on sleeping in will have to be inside those doors by 1 a.m. Nobody will be allowed to enter until the Barn Center opens tomorrow morning. And if anybody would like to leave, they will be allowed to leave according to DPS. Now reporting outside the Barn Center at the Arch, Gabrielle Caracciolo, CitrusTV News.
Thanks, Gabrielle. Now, as we know, the protesters and administrators did not reach a deal tonight, but our Ricky Sayer joins us in studio to tell us why. Ricky?
Thanks, guys. You know, over the past week and a half, I've spent a lot of time with the Not Again SU protesters at the Barn Center, and it really wasn't at all surprising for me that they rejected the Chancellor's response to their demands, because we were in the room yesterday as the Chancellor's response was read aloud, and I want to play for you a bit of those reactions in the room.
The revisions will be implemented no later than August 2020.
That's a whole summer for them.
That's a long time.
The university agrees that this is a priority in budgeting and fundraising. That's it. The university is committed to overhauling our historic reporting process.
Note how students weren't taking these responses seriously, laughing, in fact. This wasn't what they asked. You heard their reaction to the university's response that they would implement change by next August. Clearly not acceptable to the protesters. Another demand reads, Barn students want an open forum with the Board of Trustees. SU offered that shared governance bodies already exist where students can give their input, not committing to a forum. Not Again SU wanted students to be able to select their own counselors. The university's response doesn't mention that. Not Again SU wants the diversity training status of tenured professors to be made public. SU not agreeing to that demand either, saying the university will not violate privacy law by identifying faculty by name, but rather will use accountability measures to enforce compliance. None of those demands were specifically met by the university's response. And as we learned tonight, it's not just content of the university's response, it's how they said it.
Sabrina, amongst others, have expressed that they respect our movement and demands. However, the response to our demands was given in the same legalistic and sterile language that they have historically used to protect their own interests while attempting to convince us that they recognize the legitimacy of our protest.
Today, we talked to students who weren't there for the vote this morning when protesters came to their decision, but they did tell us that they thought that this protest would continue. The university's response simply too vague. Protesters want specifics. They want each of their specific demands met, and that's not what they got. And from what we understand, they won't accept anything less of exactly what they asked for. They have seen the mistakes of past student movements against the administration and are trying not to make the same mistakes. It really does appear that unless the Chancellor signs their demands, this protest isn't coming to an end and will not. Again, SU will continue to call for the Chancellor's resignation unless that changes. Jack, Sabrina, back to you.
All right, that's our Ricky Sayer reporting. Ricky, thank you. Just hours ago, the Not Again SU protesters marched to the Chancellor's house. Our reporter Conor Wight is joining us now right there with more on what happened. Conor.
Guys, I'm here outside of the Chancellor's house, and you can see down there in the driveway, that's a DPS squad car. Now, we did speak to DPS earlier, and at least a few of the officers told us that this isn't necessarily abnormal, and they do check on the Chancellor's residence at night from time to time. Now, what we also found out from DPS is, well, unfortunately, not a lot more information. We talked to them about whether or not the Chancellor came home tonight, and they were not able to confirm nor deny that the Chancellor is in his house right behind me. Now, things are quiet at the moment. No one else is here other than myself, but it was a different scene earlier today. That was Not Again SU protesters coming from Hendricks Chapel after they found out that the Chancellor would not be signing their demands tonight. Now, this isn't the first time that we've seen protests outside of the Chancellor's house in recent memory. In April of 2018, people came here to protest on the same day. The reports began to come out that there were racist and highly offensive videos coming out from the Theta Tau house just down the road. People began here and then, almost in a reverse from what we saw tonight, marched to Hendricks to have a forum about what they would discuss. And as we've seen throughout this week, Theta Tau has been a sticking point for protesters, as they've been able to note that since then, they believe that not much has done and that the administration hasn't actually hit enough concrete points to fix the problems that they saw back in 2018, back in 2015, back in 2014. And that is the reason why protests are still going on tonight. From outside the Chancellor's house, I'm Conor Wight, CitrusTV News. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Conor. Now, several developments tonight. Let's take you through everything we know so far. For that, we bring in our Camilla Boykin in studio to break it down.
Thanks, Sabrina. This morning at 10:30 a.m., Not Again SU officially reached 1 week since protests began. An hour later, DPS and the Division of Enrollment and Student Experience sent their first email to parents about the events on campus. The emails detailed steps the university has taken to protect students, as well as resources available for those in distress. This afternoon, Syracuse alum and former Vice President Joe Biden tweeted to condemn the racist acts on campus, stating, quote, "We must give hate no safe harbor." 10-1, the university sent an invitation email clarifying the location of where Chancellor Severud would meet to hear the campus's demands. The location changed from Goldstein Auditorium to Hendricks Chapel and was set to run from 7 p.m. to 8:30. Nearing 2 p.m., protesters voted on whether they would accept the university's response to their proposals, but they didn't reveal the results. At 3 p.m., DPS released a statement responding to the anti-Semitic email sent to a faculty member. They announced DPS will be working alongside the Syracuse Police Department. The FBI and the New York State Police formed a joint task force. Presidential candidate Kamala Harris then tweeted in support of protesters, writing, quote, "When young people stand together, change can happen. #NotAgainSU." At the start of the University Senate meeting, Chancellor Severud gave emotional opening remarks.
But this is Syracuse. This is 2019. I do not accept this hatred here and now. This is not who Syracuse is at its best, and it is not who we can let ourselves become.
In his speech, he also said the airdrop of the manifesto at Byrd Library seems to be a hoax, citing no specific student said they received the manifesto via airdrop. Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer Keith Alford responded to why students were asked not to share the initial Day Hall incident. Alford says it was to provide a safe space for students.
It was not a cover-up. It was not to squash any concern about the horrible racial graffiti.
A representative in the audience for Not Again SU told the Senate this response from the university wasn't enough.
It is the job of the administration to come with concise policies, with concise timelines and concise people and concise actions to solve the problem. And right now that still hasn't been done, so our demands haven't been met. And I just want to make that clear.
The Senate meeting ran overtime 45 minutes to allow senators time to vote on restructuring SEM 100 content. 6:45, protesters began walking from the Barnes Center to Hendricks Chapel for the community forum. Protesters asked if the chancellor would be signing the demands at the forum. The chancellor said he could not sign at this time. Immediately, protesters began chanting, "Sign or resign," and marched out of Hendricks Chapel. The university administration continued answering questions while protesters marched to the chancellor's house. After chanting at the chancellor's house, they returned to the Barnes Center to continue their sit-in.
That's our Carmela Boykin reporting. Carmela, thank you. At midnight tonight, students are expecting to hear from university administration. They'll say if classes will be canceled throughout the end of the week. We're waiting on that answer right now.
Chancellor Ken Syverud initially declined signing Not Again SU's list of demands, but after students walked out of Hendricks Chapel tonight, he reconsidered. Citrus TV's Lilia Wood is back at Hendricks Chapel for us now. Lilia, what's the latest?
Thanks, guys. Now, while the protesters are still calling for the chancellor's resignation, he said, the last we heard from him, that he is going to sign something tonight or tomorrow morning. Now, he said he is going to sign something with the Barnes Center students, also known as the hashtag #NotAgainSU students. He said that he still needs to discuss things with the international students as well as the Jewish community. Here's how he ended the night.
I don't want to say more than Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer Keith Alford and Professor Vico Gray would want me to say. I'll say I met with a group of the Not Again SU students downstairs. I believe we are very close to agreement on what I can agree, how I can agree and sign to the demands. I do need to meet also with international student representatives out of respect for their own concerns.
Now, guys, that was a long time in the making after the protesters said they did not agree with his demands and that the chancellor said he was not going to sign. They ran out chanting, "Sign or resign." Now, after the protesters left, there was about, 30% or something people left in the auditorium, and they continued the program as usual. They had a Q&A, and people wanted their questions answered. Then the chancellor stood up in the middle of this Q&A and said that he was called to go downstairs. He seemed a little more excited about this, that he was going to go downstairs and be able to talk to the students about what they wanted answered. And he said that he would be working to sign something either tonight or tomorrow. Now, we have not heard anything about anything being signed so far. Reporting live outside Hendricks Chapel, I'm Lilia Wood.
All right, Lilia, thank you. Now, we understand students may be wondering about their safety after the past week. That's why we're going to bring in our Katie Lane now, joining us in studio to tell us what the campus should know to stay safe.
Thank you, guys. Despite the protests and the events that have occurred here on campus, DPS Chief Bobby Maldonado says this SU campus is secure. DPS officers are spread across campus, as well as Syracuse Police and State Police. 2 residence hall security officers are also stationed in each of the residence halls on campus. Citrus TV reached out to DPS for a comment on what additional safety measures they are putting in place this evening. However, they were unable to respond. Students are asked to use the buddy system if they are walking around campus. If you feel unsafe at any time, call DPS at 315-443-2224. Again, that is 315-443-2224. You can also dial #78 from your cell phone. If you are using a campus landline, dial 711. You can also report issues on the LiveSafe app. If you plan on leaving your residence, be cautious and remain aware of your surroundings. Parents are also contacting Citrus TV and posting in SU parents' social media group chats concerned about the safety of their children. The university first notified parents around noon this morning about the vandalism and threats on campus, 2 weeks since the first case of vandalism was found. The email detailed the safety efforts DPS, Syracuse Police, and State Police are taking to ensure student safety. Many parents are saying they are upset with the university for not notifying them sooner. Others say the contact has been appropriate as this is an ongoing investigation. Parents are offering advice about how to best support their child during what they call a traumatic time. There are two main opinions. Some parents believe they should not bring up the incidents or ask questions because it may incite fear or trigger anxiety within their children. Others believe they should be talking with their children to help them process what is going on campus. Additionally, many SU families are opening up their homes for the Thanksgiving holiday to international students and other students who may not otherwise be able to leave campus.
All right, Katie, thank you. Before their game against Cornell this evening, the Syracuse men's basketball team tweeted that the entire team would be wearing black warm-up shirts in support of the Not Again SU movement.
Citrus TV's Patrick Gunn was at the game and is here in studio to talk about the team's response. Patrick.
Yeah, that's right, Sabrina. The team says that it was business as usual on the court tonight, but the Not Again SU movement was on everyone's mind during and after the game against Cornell. Elijah Hughes said the team wants to, quote, show support for our fellow students and all those working towards ensuring a safe and welcoming community. After the game, head coach Jim BOEHEIM said that it was the players' choice to wear the shirts.
All right, Patrick, thank you.
The players decided that they wanted to show support, as I did the other day, and that was their idea. I thought it was a good idea. Everybody in the university thought it was a good idea.
Like it's really simple, you know. We did the shirts, you know, to show that the students have our support. You know, that was really it, just to make sure, you know, campus is a safe environment for us, and they feel protected, and that we support them in that.
I mean, the whole team talked about it, and we all thought it was a good idea just to show our support for the school and, you know, the campus as a whole. That we're with them, we're going to get through this, and, you know, just being there for them. And you know, I thought everyone really was for it.
I thought there was a lot of things that the Chancellor said and did in writing that was really positive, good things, and sometimes people want everything, and sometimes it's hard to do that. But I just am concerned for our campus, for all the students here, and I'm hopeful that we'll get through this and things will be done to satisfy everybody.
And that's all for this special report tonight. We will also be back live at 6 tomorrow with more coverage. Make sure to keep up with Citrus TV News on Twitter and Instagram. We'll have updates throughout the night and the rest of the week. I'm Jack Watson.
And I'm Sabrina Maggiore. You can watch us on channel 14.1 if you're on campus and CitrusTVnews.com/live if you're away. Stay safe, Syracuse.